The world of digital art is vast and has plenty of things to showcase, from digital paintings, illustrations, webcomics, 3D art, and so much more. However, in order to enter the digital art world, you have to find a drawing or display tablet that fits your needs. Or if you're a freak like some people, you can use your phone and your finger, but we're not here to talk about that today. A lot of people would probably recommend starting off with something like a Wacom Intuos, as that's what a lot of people use when beginning their own digital art journey. And while that's not a bad idea, maybe you're looking for something with a screen that doesn't require the use of a laptop, a PC, something that you can travel with and won't break your bank. If you don't know me, my name is Wren. I'm a digital artist with a bachelor's degree in advertising art, as well as the creator of the comic The Corruption of Cass Oliver on Webtoon, Tapas, and Comic Fury. I'm also a Twitch streamer on the side, but that's a discussion for a later date. I have had my fair share of experience using drawing tablets, from the Wacom Intuos to the Huion Kamvas 22, and I'm here to share with you some news of two new products Huion just released in their Slate series, the Kamvas Slate 11 and 13. Before I get into talking about these two products, I'd like to talk about my own experience with the Slate series so far, specifically the Kamvas Slate 10. I'd like to clarify that everything that I'll be talking about right now is my own experience and opinion regarding the Slate series, so if you disagree with what I say, that's completely valid, and I won't be offended. Before purchasing the Slate 10, I had been using the Kamvas 22 for a couple years at that point, and unfortunately it started having issues with what I think was the tablet's USB-C port that connected the tablet to my PC, and after sending it off to be looked at, it was decided that it was unable to be repaired, so I was reimbursed since the tablet was thankfully still under warranty. I purchased the Slate 10 a month after it was released in December of 2023. I was really excited to finally be able to leave my desk and draw, as I struggled to maintain motivation if I'm having to constantly work in the same spot every day. I just so happened to get the Slate 10 off the Huion website for around $240, and as this video is being recorded, it's currently around $230 without taxes included, so seemingly the price hasn't changed much, if at all. Alongside the tablet, a leather case, active capacitive stylus, pen nib, power adapter, USB-C to USB-A power cable, TF card eject tool, and quick start guide are included. The Slate 10 measures out at 10.1 inches, has a 1920 by 1200 resolution, full lamination, and an optional anti-glare film. Within the tablet, there is 128 gigabytes worth of storage that can be upgraded to 512 gigs with a TF card, 4,096 levels of pressure, 10 points of capacitive finger touch, an operating system of Android 12 upon release, and it also has 7 hours of battery life and 3.5 hours of charging time. The pen that comes with this tablet has 2 side keys, 45 hours of battery life, and palm rejection. From what I understand, this tablet is the first handheld portable tablet Huion has released, so I was prepared for it to come with some issues that all first edition products do. And as excited as I was to receive this tablet, I have to admit that when I received it and I began using it, I quickly started discovering some issues I had with it. Now, before I get into what these issues are, I will say I am by no means saying that this isn't a good tablet. I'm just saying it's a little too beginner friendly for what I needed it to be. Now, what do I mean by too beginner friendly? Let me explain. The first issue I started noticing was lag. Now, I use Clip Studio Paint as my preferred art software, I probably always will, and I rely on the 3D character models and assets from its store in order to work on my comic because, I'll be completely honest, I suck at anatomy. I noticed lag occurring when I used more than one 3D character model at a time, and this became an issue because I also use environments I make in Blender to make creating environments a much faster process. Now, do I believe that the Slate 10 was made to handle that much processing power? No, I don't. And that's a big reason why I think this tablet wasn't made for comic artists like me who rely on specific tools to get their projects done. I believe that this tablet, however, would be perfect for somebody who's just starting out in the digital art world and is looking for a tablet that's budget friendly. The second issue I had with this tablet is the pen. There's a lot of pens out there that are made to be used for specific tablets. For example, some Wacom pens can't be used on certain Wacom tablets, and some Huion pens aren't made to be used on different types of Huion tablets. If I still had my Kamvas 22 at the time of purchasing the Slate 10, I wouldn't have been able to use the pen from the Kamvas 22 on the Slate 10. It all comes down to the tech used within the pen and if it's compatible with the tablet that you're using. The pen for the Slate 10, however, is honestly really strange to me. First and foremost, I started having issues where I would be inking my pages and the lines I would draw would suddenly veer off the page. So I'd have to undo the line I just drew and hope and pray it wouldn't happen again. I thought it was an issue with the calibration with the pen, so upon trying to figure out how to calibrate the pen, I discovered there was no calibration setting or program to fix the issue. Now, maybe there was one and I didn't look hard enough, but if there isn't one, I find it really frustrating that there isn't some type of calibration thing to fix potential issues that may occur, especially if a tablet like this is made to create art. My next thought was that it had something to do with the actual pen nib. Now, if you don't know anything about pen nibs, you have to replace them every now and then or else they start scratching your screen up because they get a little sharp, especially if you're heavy-handed like me. Admittedly, I did lose the pen nib that came in the box, so I went to the Huion website to search for pen nibs, and I discovered that the pen nibs for this pen are completely different from any other pen nib on the Huion website. Not only that, but I quickly found out that Huion never made a packet of pen nibs for this specific pen, so if you needed a replacement nib for this pen, you'd have to get a whole new pen from the Huion website, which is $50, and in my situation, is not available for purchase in the US. Also, I found out this pen is apparently compatible with Google Chromebooks. To this day, I still can't wrap my head around that piece of information. Anyway, my last issue with the pen was that it had to be charged. It does have an insane amount of power, as I mentioned earlier in this video, and it only takes an hour or two to charge enough to get back to what you were doing. But regardless, it's really frustrating when you're really into the piece of art that you're working on and the pen decides to die. I don't think I've ever had a pen that had to be charged until I got the Slate 10, and while I truly love Huion as a brand, I don't understand why they made that choice. I guess my last issue I had with the Slate 10 was the leather case it comes with. It has the ability to be used as a stand, which I thought was really nice in the beginning, but I don't remember the amount of times I'd been working and my tablet has fallen from how unstable the stand is. Overall, if I had to rate the Slate 10 in terms of using it as a more advanced artist, I would give it a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's also not good for artists like me. That being said, despite my own issues with it, I honestly recommend it for beginners. Hell, I still use it every now and then if I'm traveling, and I can cope with the issues that I have until I'm able to get back home. My only recommendations are to be really careful when using art softwares like Clip Studio Paint, as some tools and features that you're able to use within it make the tablet struggle a little bit, and I also recommend saving every 5 to 10 minutes, just in case your art software decides to crash. That's not a recommendation that I'm making for this tablet specifically. I'm saying that one in general. Trust me, it's gonna save your life. I'd also recommend getting a tablet stand for the tablet itself. Personally, I recently just got one for a UG tablet I use at my computer, and it was around $20 on Amazon, so if that's within your budget, I'd say go for it. As for the Slate 11 and 13, I only just found out the other day that Huion released these two tablets back in April, and just from scanning over their pages, I have to say I'm a little let down by these two tablets. The Slate 11 starts off at $329 before taxes, and at the time of this recording, it's on sale for $299. Both the Slate 11 and the 13, unlike the 10, come with a new pen called the H pencil and 3 nibs for the pen. I would like to mention that while this pen is a different model than the one that comes with the Slate 10, it still needs to be charged. I also noticed that Huion has yet to make a packet of nibs for this pen, so if you do happen to get this tablet or you have it already, make sure that you put those nibs in a safe, secure location in case you need a replacement for the one already inside the pen. In addition to the H pencil, the Slate 11 and 13 come with a palm rejection artist glove. If you happen to lose this, it's not a big deal. They're like $5 to $10 on Amazon. Other than that, both of these tablets come with the same accessories as the Slate 10, that being the leather case, the USB-C to USB-A power cable, the card eject tool, and the quick start guide. In terms of specs, starting off with the Slate 11, this tablet measures out a little differently than the Slate 10 at 11 inches, has a 1920 by 1200 resolution, full lamination, anti-glare film, 128 gigs of storage that can be upgraded to 1 terabyte with a micro SD card, 4,096 levels of pressure, 10 points of capacitive finger touch, a new ability of tilt recognition, an operating system of Android 14 upon release, 11 hours of battery life, and 2.5 hours of charge time. Switching over to the Slate 13, this tablet's priced at $449 before taxes are included, and at the time of this recording, it is on sale for $406. As mentioned previously, the Slate 13 comes with the H pen, the 3 nibs, the artist glove, and everything else included with the 10 and the 11, but what makes the 13 different from the 11, seemingly, is the size, storage capacity, and the battery life. The Slate 13 measures out at 12.7 inches with a resolution of 2176 by 1600, 256 gigabytes of storage that can be upgraded to 1 terabyte with a micro SD card, 14 hours of battery life, and 3.3 hours of charging time. After looking over their product pages some more, I noticed that Huion has marketed these two tablets as lag-free and feature a refresh rate of 90 Hz. While that's nice to hear, I really am not a fan of the fact that they didn't get rid of the chargeable pin used for these tablets, but from what I've been hearing, this type of pin is actually really common amongst Android systems, but I do wonder what it would take for Huion to be able to use their current pins in the Slate series. If that's an impossible task at the moment due to technological limitations, then I can't say I fault them for having this type of pen, but it's still annoying regardless. I just so happened to watch the video that's on both product pages, and I noticed that they also market this tablet as not necessarily an art tablet, but an overall general use tablet. They show this tablet being able to run video games, watch movies, and videos, which makes me wonder just how much it can handle at once. I love the sleek look of the 11 and 13 compared to the 10, though I do think they could work on the case that comes with them, as it's still the same as the 10. I also watched this video by Colbow, which I'll link in the description, where you can get a much better visual representation of the Slate 13, and I just have to mention how bad the color display is on this tablet. The way that it displays color is shown really well in Brad's video, so please go feel free to watch that to get a look at that, and I feel that it just doesn't translate as well as something like a Wacom, XP Pen, iPad, or even a Samsung tablet, and I feel like that's such an important aspect to nail if you're going to release a tablet on a site that is tailored toward artists. At the end of the day, if you're interested in the Slate series as an artist starting off in digital art, I would say out of any of these, it may not hurt to give the Slate 10 a try. If you're worried about the Slate 10's performance and overall functionality, I wish I could say perhaps give the Slate 11 a try. But my biggest recommendation here would be to look elsewhere. Maybe look for something in the Samsung Tab S series, even if they are a little bit more pricey. I have had the opportunity to use a Tab S7 in the past, and I have to say, I really like pretty much everything about it, so I'll be sure to link that tablet down below as well, just in case it might be of interest to somebody. As for the Slate 13, I have to admit, $400+ for a slightly bigger screen and bigger base storage capacity isn't really a deal breaker, especially with the color display issues it seems to have. Now, the big question is if I would try either of these tablets out myself if I got the chance. And the answer is actually yes, believe it or not. I don't think I would save up my own money to get one myself, but if somebody gave me the opportunity to use one, I would take it just to try it out. Who knows, maybe in the future Huion can send me one and absolutely prove me wrong with this review. I really don't have much else to say about the Slate 11 and 13 besides I'm a little let down. I thought they might have been able to revive themselves this time after how the Slate 10 did. As previously mentioned, I absolutely love Huion as a brand, and I understand that their Slate series is really new compared to their other series, but I feel like they might be throwing away their potential to have a really decent standalone tablet with the series. I think Huion does a phenomenal job in making quality drawing tablets for a reasonable price, but I think if they really want to make a standalone series, that they should really do their research into what their competitors are doing before they keep trying to do so. I'd love to be able to get back to reliably working away from my desk, but I don't see the Slate series becoming my reason to do so. If I did get the chance to test one out, I would actually still love to see how they perform under the pressures I put under the Slate 10, just to see how much they can handle, especially since they've been marketed to be able to play video games. Even if they wouldn't be able to do the things I need them to do, I don't think I'd be upset. I realize that these are standalone tablets, and with everything I do for my comic and other art I create in my life, I'd take into account that they're only made to do so much. I really hope this video has been able to help you or somebody out there starting their digital art journey. I'll be leaving the links to the Slate 10, 11, and 13 down below in the description for anyone who might be interested in taking a closer look at what Huion has to offer. If you have a laptop or a PC, I honestly highly recommend looking into Huion's Kamvas series because it's really good in my opinion, and they're really affordable compared to, say, a Wacom Cintiq. If you'd like to see more art-related content from me, feel free to leave a recommendation on what you'd like to see in the comments below. I do have an idea for a future video I've been really wanting to make regarding tips on how to create your own webcomic, so if you'd be interested in something like that, let me know in the comments as well. If you'd like to see any of my other content I currently create, I post gaming content on Instagram and TikTok at the Red Wren, as well as here on YouTube at the Red Wren VODs. If you do like webcomics, like I said earlier, I am the creator of The Corruption of Cass Oliver on Webtoon, Tapas, and Comic Fury. I will leave the Patreon down below, as well as links where you could go read those. Anyway, that's enough for me. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your time zone, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!